What's the difference between a buyer's market and a seller's market? Now, you may have heard of these terms before, but put simply, it's just the balance between supply and demand. So a buyer's market is when there's more supply or more properties on the market. And an example of this would be, if you've got 3 buyers that are looking for a particular type of property in a particular suburb, and you've got, 5 properties to, that match that description in that suburb. So, there's more properties than there are buyers. So this can really have that shift in supply and demand, and it's probably more favourable for the buyer. Okay, so this in fact gives them a little bit more negotiating power, and that's to do with price, but also terms, because they can be a little bit more, I guess, cheeky in regards to, their settlement terms or their conditions that are on their offers. And sellers don't have the luxury of having multiple offers. So that's why it can really shift into a buyer's favourable market. Now, on the other hand, a seller's market is when there's more demand for the amount of properties that are currently on the market. So if you take those same 3 buyers that are looking for that specific type of property in that suburb, and you've only got 2 properties that are for sale that match that description, then you can see how this really does shift the power. And, the sellers have more power in this situation because they've got more buyers and they've got more, I guess, options. So in this type of situation, you can sometimes get multiple offers and competitive bidding or competitive offer sort of situation. And that really gives the sellers a little bit more, I guess, choice. Because if you've got, multiple offers and you've got one that's unconditional and one that's got terms that don't necessarily suit you, then you've got those options. You might choose terms over price sometimes. So that's the difference. Now, what we've seen lately is that significant shift from coming out of a seller's market. What we saw throughout COVID was that really strong, intense demand for properties. And we've seen that, with all the media, the news, even just conversations people are having in the street, we've really seen people just taking that step back, particularly buyers, and being that little bit more uncertain and a little bit more cautious. So the demand has kind of, taken a step back. But having said that, if there is buyers out there who are buyer ready, and what I mean by that is, you've got your finance, you know what type of property that you're going to be purchasing. You are, very, I guess, up to date on how much you can spend and how much you can afford to borrow. Even with the interest rate increases, you are qualified and you know that you are ready to buy a property. There are some really good opportunities out there, because it has shifted into that buyer's market. So that's where it comes down to just knowing the right information, knowing how to do your research around pricing and around properties that are on the market and off the market, so that you can you can take advantage of the situation right now. Now, in a buyer's market that we're in right now, from a seller's perspective, this is where it's really important that your home stands out for all the right reasons, and it's attracting those qualified buyers that are out there to compete for your property, because it does stand out as being an A grade or an A-list sort of property that buyers would want to have. Okay, so that's where it becomes really important. So you can still get a really good result in a buyer's market if you know how and you've got the right strategy. Now, that reminds me, I must mention that I am holding a masterclass next Tuesday, the 28th of February at 6:30 p.m, where I'm going to show you how you can do your own property appraisal so that you can work out how much your home is worth in the current market. And you can do this without, needing to invite any real estate agents into your home, or, having to go through that whole process, so that you can educate yourself on how to do a property appraisal. So I'm going to have the link to that for you to register in the comments. So please come and join me. I'd love to see you there. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, or if you're watching it on the replay. I really appreciate you supporting me. And I look forward to seeing you next week if you can make it to my masterclass. I'm Lisa Stafford, and I am your expert in property.